Yeah. Okay. Oh, wasn't that nice and refreshing? Oh, wow. Wow, that was nice. Good morning. I want to finish this Ace Attorney story, and then I want to play some Star Rail for once because I finally learned how to speed tune, or at least I understand how the math works now. So I wanted to do some testing to figure out if my fugue is godlike. But first, we need to finish this Ace Attorney situation. So let's work on that, okay? Posture check. How's about? How's about? I forgot to put on my adapalene today. I did my whole hair care routine and washed my face, and I forgot my fucking adapalene. Oh, what am I gonna do with my retinoids? What I'm gonna do with my vitamin A derivatives? I'm gonna get all wrinkly and old and nasty. Oh, all right, all right. Let's do it. Okay. All right. Do you remember what happened last time? Because I do. But I'm asking you. I read the whole time and you were watching, so I need you to summarize. Razor, good to see you. Welcome. Oh, come on. Can anyone provide a summary up until this point? Girl got stabbed, was holding a burned book. There you go. Lord Van Zeeks put his boot on the table. Exactly. That's the important stuff right there. You were talking to a sleepy dude and his wife. That's all I got. Yes, exactly. Spoilers. Juna! The game is how many years old? A decade? At this point? Get your fucking ass up and work. If you're like, nobody wants to work these days. I got a block of cheese. Ugh. Alright, that's enough. Let's get started. Do I have water? My mood would skyrocket if I had water in my backpack. Let me check. I won. Yes. Ugh. I did hair day today, and that took a lot out of me. Bro, what the fuck? No, no, I look like Phoenix Wright. Hold on, wait. Objection! Wait, ah! Hold on. Did I watch the trailer? What trailer? What? No? I figure you would have wanted us to watch it together, which we will not be doing right now because it's 3 a.m. You know what'll wake me up? Hang on. Whew. You know what'll wake me up? Now I think about it. Where's my okay. I should put this on. All right. Okay. What will wake me up is getting started with the fucking game. All right, I'm good to go. Let's do it. Whoa. All right. Yeah, I want to watch the trailer together later. Not now. I want more people to be here. But yes, there was a woman that was murdered on a foggy street. That people are thinking is our dude from Japan. He didn't do it. He had some books. He had 3 books. The woman was stabbed. She had a knife in her back. She didn't die. There was 4 books. 3 of the books belonged to the defendant. They were defending, and 1 of the books belonged to the girl that got stabbed, or the book that got stabbed. But it was weird because that same book belonged to the landlord that we talked to, who had a fire up in his house, literally a couple of minutes before the murder happened. So, therefore, we got some issues going on. She was not murdered. Well, you know, stabbed. Same thing. Don't ask me why. I need to hear it one more time.
God, the Fox News must be so loud in there.
Transgender immigrants are dropping sexy M&Ms from Chinese balloons.
This is worth being disowned by my family.
Transgender immigrants are dropping, what is it? Sexy M&Ms from, what is it? Chinese balloons. Okay, I'm good. Transgender immigrants are dropping sexy M&Ms. Chinese balloons. Okay, alright, we're good. Anyway, let's do some reading. I have considered the defense's counsel request for a further summation examination of the jury, and I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you to now clearly and concisely for the court state the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime. Okay. The jurors' contentions. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was storing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tidy bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. What the fuck is going on? This is such a what kind of fucking argument? Whew. Oh my god, like it's like being black in a judicial system. Like, what is happening here? What is that? What kind of fucking argument? What the fuck? Help me! With one notable exception, of course. One? My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness's testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused fleeing from the scene. And moreover, no one else was even at the scene of the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it could be argued any other way. That means, I'm afraid, during this summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman, and how? Those two details are all you need to provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was concluded. Ugh. And there I was thinking this might be hard. But Mr. Naruhado, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends. Ugh, no pressure then. That's quite enough. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel? Yes, my lord. Alright, Ryunosuke, focus your mind now. Clearly, the key to this summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid. Or should I say, it's Garrideb. We have a book that disappeared from the Garrideb's house on the evening of the incident, and the fourth book was found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the two. Yes, that's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far, whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Miss Garrideb and how she reacts, even to things other people say. Alright, here we go. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his.
Hold it!
Let's talk about it. But as we now know, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry? Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said. That's not exactly how I put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nepalese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this pabulaire is about. It's a done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I have nothing witty left to say. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such delight on your face. But I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I'm a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great! If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? And not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals are delighted to embrace new fads, you know. So I'd only be too happy to consider a new, exciting theory if you come up with one. I'd be happy to do that, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern metropolitan young lady. Right. I'm glad you admitted rational there. Are the jurors not part of the... I feel like they should be, shouldn't they? Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it?
Hold it!
But what about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How can you be so sure? The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see? But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. Then what's the point of even having windows? Counsel, you will kindly refrain from the childish bickering. Oh, sorry. Somehow I need to show that there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise. Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit.
Hold it!
Let's talk about it. But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. There's really no such thing as a loving, incendiary bomb, sorry. Well, he brought it upon himself, playing with fire to betray a fiery love. Isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Oh, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes? But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Miss Garrideb. Never mind you that. The point is, we were having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime. Right, well, we'll see about that. But what about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Miss Garrideb's relentless onslaughts. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. Why does he look like that other guy that we saw?
Hold it!
You just want to get this over with. How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here. Well, both him and me, then. Like I said before. What? I told you already. I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. What? You heard me. My missus isn't the one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce. Believe you me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. A situation like this cropped up the other day, and it was, well, did you know? It's funny, I can't quite remember. Sorry? It was too frightening. That's the thing. I must have blocked it out. Helpful. I wonder if Mr. B will ever be dragged to the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Mrs. Otto. There must be a way to jog his memory about this. Yeah, you're right. If it was on fire, if there was a fire in your house, would you open the window? Isn't there smoke in the house that you want to let out? Because of the smoke, correct? The smoke has to go somewhere, so the window has to be open. Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability to this case? Sorry, what was that? You have to speak up, lad. Could you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75 candles on top, it did. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously. It seems that it's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Narhado. Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but the candles went flying all over the room. The furniture and everything went up, the whole place filled with smoke. That definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And, by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold, but how did you catch a cold from a fire?
What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room was filled up with smoke, of course, you had to open the window. Yep, we had to open the windows to clear it. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. It put me in a hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was double worship all along, but something about this old man's story is playing in my mind for some reason. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street, as well as how he or she could have done it. Yes, but once again, the jury's statement are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced that they are right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think you're gonna need them to pit up against them each other. Okay, cool. I got one. The window was open because...
Objection!
Those two jurors' statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point at me again. I told you, it wasn't me. What'd you say? Speak up. Juror number 3, do you see? Oh, me? See what, sir? Did you hear what Juror 6's account on his birthday celebration? Wait, account of his birthday celebrations last year. It seems, despite being a Londoner, he opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Oh! On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb household. And Mr. Garadeb has the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke.
Oh, my.
Oh.
Excuse me.
What's going on? Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Miss Garadeb. Oh, dearie me. What's the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When you started the fire in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon? What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, all right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy, since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire? Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad news. Bad for the nerves to do otherwise. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhado. You managed to establish that the window was open. We simply must add that to Miss Garadeb's formal statement. Now that you mention it, yes, the window was open at the time. I clean forgotten, but it's true.
Hold it!
The 4th book was found at the scene of the crime. Okay, and it shows very obvious signs of fire damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garadeb told us that he'd been reading. Well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now that you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man. I didn't remember. And at times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as you well know. I really don't. I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less in the middle of it. Do you remember the argument?
Excuse me.
What is it, juror number 5? You know something. I remember what it was. The memory I blocked out. I was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought it all flooding back. Granny? Who are you calling Granny? You cheeky little devil. I'm Miss Garadeb, or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work, like... I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I had just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Oh dear, what a disaster. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Ugh! Boy. Oh? The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I lost a day's wages, love. And so she threw the knife! Because they threw a knife at her! Somebody threw a knife at her! Somebody threw a knife at her! I'm not crazy! The next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear, stuck into the wall next to me it did, about an inch deep. That's what I'm saying! That's what I said like 10 million years ago! I knew it! If there was nobody around, and he didn't do it, somebody threw it at her. No words, just terror. I could smell it then, you know, that god-awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When the woman loses their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchet, hammers, you name it. Mr. Naruhado, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household object at people... It's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor. Use a bow or the like. What? Attack? Who are you gonna attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later if I dare. A woman in a rage will hurl almost anything at you. The kitchen knife really brought it home to me.
Objection.
The two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection. Good grief. You must mean they don't contradict each other. Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? We've demonstrated that the 4th book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garadeb's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garadeb household to the street below. What's that now? After all, Ms. Garadeb could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? I'm beginning to think that ever since the true origin of this book came to light, perhaps she had a feeling that this might be what happened. Now you listen here, Eastern Gala. As a foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house. But what? What was it? I'm really taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain that at the very least, this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garadeb household at the scene of the crime was the knife.
Take that!
Juror number 4, Miss Garadeb. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you seen this knife before? Good lord, Consul. What on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged into the victim's back, man. My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Miss Garrideb were in the throes of an argument. Miss Garrideb was hurling anything that she could throw at her husband, who had been backed up against the window. A window that had been opened to clear smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the scene of the crime. You can't seriously believe that that book was found in the victim's grasp. Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand? Huh? Even my missus doesn't have aim like that. No, they threw it out the door, she picked it up, and while she picked it up, she got stabbed. Yes, I admit, there are many details we don't understand yet. But that's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my. Miss Garrideb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? Oh, Uh-oh. My lord, I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madam. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end right now with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman? I'd have to agree. Not that I think the Grand didn't mind. Yeah, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. All together now, ladies and gents. We did it! Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhado. So the result of the defense summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. Here we go, Mr. Prosecutor. Objection, that's fucking stupid. We're wasting time. 2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided, and this trial will continue. Now then, Lord Van Zieks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed? This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. But what follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing. Save the gutter. If I may, Lord Van Zieks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke, to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting that you must all have familiarized yourselves with the relative positions of these places being discussed. What do you mean by that? What's this angle this time? How did she get stabbed in the back? It should already be more apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrideb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garrideb's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards. Let me see, 15 yards. That's around 14 meters. 14 meters? Oh, that's a little further than I imagined. And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightfully noted, having portentous significance, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned, deluded friend? No, it fell on the ground and she picked it up. And then she got stabbed. And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory and plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. No, get up, bro. Like, she can't bend over to pick it up?
Stop being useless! And there's a book on the ground, pick it up!
That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Miss Sosato, serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare they? Or how dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. My lord, may I be allowed to speak? As a judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead. The prosecution may consider the idea of fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Miss Joan Garadeb, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination. Saints alive! Cross-examination of a juror? Order, order, order! Well, this is highly irregular. It's unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
And unnecessary. Lord Van Zeeks, there's already witnesses in the stand whose testimony in the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth to it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have been thrown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume that it would have been able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses? Yes, sir. Constable Rolly Beat, reporting for duty, sir. Well, good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now. Sir, I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they are so heroic, these London bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, Rolly, my hero. You make me swoon. Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request. Oh. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the alternative explanation of the event. Yes, sir. Which one is crew? The one on the right, Patricia. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Miss Garadeb. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the window on the top floor of the Garadeb house are top-hinged casements. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the scene of the crime for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Well, this is quite startling. Top-hinged casement windows. That detail was not in the police report, Constable. Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. You cannot excuse your sins with the drowsiness every single time, Constable. No, sir. Sorry, but... What exactly is a top-hinged casement window? And you? You cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course, sorry. I found it, Mr. Naruhado. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's room. Alright, I'll try. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. But as a top-hinged casement window, it swings along the upper edge, you see. I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. A casement window is a most prominent feature. It's its stay, a metal bar that prevents the window from being open beyond a certain amount. It prevents opening? This is all news to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife had been thrown out the window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. Exactly. You see, the problem then? Good, your education in Windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we would have discounted already. That can't be. So how did she get the book? Did you see, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumpled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and my argument's already been destroyed. Consul, if you would drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination. My lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation.
Hold it!
How are you good on your word when you can fall asleep? How can you say that for certain? A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It's the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to us policemen of our sworn duty. He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? I can't say I remember. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. It's what the job is all about, and that's why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you a Bobby's good for his word, while rubbing my tired eyes admittedly, sir. Oh, Rolly, you're so manly. Of course, ma'am, my darling Patricia. This is Crew when Whale does Kingdom Hearts 2 boss runs. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. No, none of this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case had nothing to do with them? I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir. Yes, well, could you answer the question, then? Absolutely, sir. I will answer it to my fullest ability, sir. There is a surprising reason why Mr. and Miss Garadeb's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. Before I get into that, sir, just one thing. Yes? I'd very much like you and your countrymen to understand the Great British Institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and show how we uphold our guiding principles. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I only just arrived here. So to that end, I'll be happy to win you the warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Thank you. This is what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. Thank you. Okay. A policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. And a patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Any crimes fall under jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. Okay. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigation and help the detectives. And help detectives. We still need to find the identity of this woman. We still need to find this, find the identity of this woman. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the windows, we would have seen it. of like this one. Talk to me about it. Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right? That's right. Yes. If I had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat. So Rolly told me the way, only I got sort of a little lost on the way. Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh, please. So I was gone for about 15 minutes. Uh-oh. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I don't know why I don't like that. I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir. You didn't fall asleep? I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment. Nothing strange to report on that front. Are you sure?
Hold it!
Nothing to report. That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the whole time, never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I swear on that. I swear to that on the yard's honor, sir. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir? Strange, sir. Seems altogether to me. This burnt copy of the London's Pride was originally in the Garadeb household, so the question remains, how did it find its way into the hands of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were the one at the scene of the crime the entire time? Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happened to be burnt as well? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she has a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. But how? But how? How was it in the hands of her when it was across the street? Is that so? Let's add that to the let's add that to the testimony, please. There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. I feel it too. Two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her bag and how the book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them. I'm so sorry, Mr. Naruhito. I had no right to speak out. What do you mean? I requested the cross-examination of Miss Garadeb without consulting you, even if the judge did deny me. Oh, I see. Well, I agree with you. We do need testimony from Miss Garadeb, if we're ever going to get the truth of this matter. You really think so? Well, think about it. No matter how far across the road or how that window opens, Miss Garadeb's book found its way to the scene of the crime somehow, didn't it? You're right. And then there's Miss Garadeb's reaction to me showing her the knife. The woman's hiding something, I'm sure of it. You're right again. We need to use this cross-examination to uncover more clues. We'll get to the bottom of this one way or another. Yes.
Hold
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, thank you. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Can we add that to the court record, please? Or update that? Directly opposite to the scene of the crime, on the other side of the Wather Ride Road. Would it have been so hard for somebody to mention this top-hinged casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house were furnished with? Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday. Oh?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Miss Beat? Sorry? You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that? Oh, I was just remembering. That's all. We really were so lucky. Lucky? What do you mean? Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky that it didn't happen on Broly's beat. It was so close, you see. Oh, I hadn't realized. Oh yes, that street, Briar Road, that is the boundary between Broly's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love? Constable B! Oh, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with the interviewing the occupants of the Garrideb household yesterday. Their house was on my beat, you see, sir. Their house is on your beat. That really was gonna get close then. Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrideb household is on your beat, does that mean the pavement next to it is as well? Outside Mr. Garrideb's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. I see. I was unaware of that. Just think, if the woman had been attacked on the other side of Briar Road, we would have never been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's life of a Bobby, after all. Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all. Oh my god. Jigs, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ace. I'm just playing some Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney. Ace. Because I'm Ace. Like attorney. I have a law degree. Yeah. Alright. But welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. Welcome. If you haven't played this game, spoilers. So anyway.
Oh.
And a follow. Thank you. I'm sure you do. Huh? What do you mean? I'm about to have a master's in like a year and a half or so. Let's see. Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners. Oh, have you played the TGAA? This is my first time playing, so I have no idea what's happening. So far, I'm really liking it a lot. Okay. But yeah, it's good. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. And welcome, everybody. So yeah, this is all blind for me. Like I still have to play the second part too, so that's nice. But yeah, enjoy the show. My theory right now is okay. Okay. I've been okay up until this point, but I'm still confused on this jurisdiction type thing, right? There's the principles of the policing, right? And if they're telling me if the murder was over here, right? And the book fell on this side of the road, how does she have the book in her hand? Does somebody move her over here? I don't get it. I have no idea, so I'm trying to figure it out. to me, it's I need to see who this other constable is, right? And I'm still thinking about those two NPCs that I saw. The one with the flamboyant one and the dude that looks like the worker. I still need to figure out who those two people are. Wait a minute. If crimes fall on the jurisdiction of the beat that discovered them, and his jurisdiction is the one on the left, and the murder happened on the right, why is he covering the case? That doesn't make sense, right? Because he found the body. Yeah, but why is he helping with the initial investigation? Shouldn't it be the other person? Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Broly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling? That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record. Leave it to me, Mr. Naruto. I'll take care of it immediately. The pavement out where the victim was found lies just outside the constable's beat, on the border that runs down between the middle of... He was helping to interview the people on his beat that could have been witnesses. He said he was helping because it was so close. I see. Okay. The other constable just isn't there? Weird. Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir? Oh, yes, of course. What is it? You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. What? I wasn't really... I mean, what's she doing? Please. Just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard, my lord. You'll let me speak, won't you? Yes, Miss Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. That was a very loud mutter. I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's words count for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Broly won't. Duly noted, Miss Beat. I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly... What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder? I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Hold it!
What didn't you see? I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction? Oh, yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I always end up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to speak. Oh. Oh. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
What's going on? Constable B, is there a problem? Huh? No, sir. Nope. No problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering the same thing happened that evening is all. You mean Miss Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? Very well, well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone for a good 15. Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was gone for so long was because of the bouquet, silly. The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about? Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for it with his fatherings, and happenings he had found, in the gutter while he was doing his rounds. Yes, how romantic. I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Hadn't you, my darling? Hmm? Oh, yes. But that was just between us. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise. Really? Oh. What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruhodo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Miss Beat about the bouquet. Hmm. The bouquet. What does that have to do with anything? Miss Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add the details about it to your testimony, please. Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to. What happened was, I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while. Let's see what he has to say.
Hold it!
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over, I saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked, I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the street lights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice it at first. And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on. Yes. I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That was when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all. In case you need reminding, Miss B, the victim is not deceased. I was flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road. Your husband, presumably. That's right, silly me. I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although, I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there, I really can't. So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite. Curious indeed. Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick up the bouquet again when we left the scene. Did this dude fall asleep while observing the fucking scene? And somebody... That beautiful rose Broly bought me. With that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting. By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry, solitary rose? Oh. Oh, yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly brought me for our anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter. May just well call it just a rose. Tell us, Lord of Antiques, where did you come by that flower? According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garadeb household. In front of the household? Although, it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamp cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I have it back now, please? No. I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence. Oh! The anniversary bouquet has been added into the court record. But it's a symbol of our love. Let's take a look at it. Why would this rose be significant? What's on the newspaper is a good question, too. What's the date? An old newspaper. There seems to be nothing strange about it. Sorry, I hate to look at it and it's flowersy, but I'm like... Is that it? Really? There's nothing to observe about this? A present for Patricia B. from her husband, Rolly. The shock of seeing the stabbed victim caused Miss B. to drop the rose where she stood. Why was it in front of the house? I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back. Good grief. Rest assured that I shall do my very best to not forget Miss B. I didn't take my eyes off the crime scene for one moment, so nothing strange to report on that front. Wouldn't he have seen it move? Well...
Hold it!
Nothing to report. Are you sure? Then why did the... I feel like somebody edited the crime scene while he was asleep. Oops. Is this the contradictory statement? I feel like this is a lie, right? Otherwise, how did the bros get over there? I'm gonna present.
Objection.
You claim, Constable B, that there was nothing to report in the 15 minutes or so that you were guarding the scene, but that just cannot be. What do you mean to say? And your testimony just now, Miss B, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet that you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby. Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of this meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street back to the gutter where it belongs. What? Meager? But if that were the case, why did Constable B not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable B swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case.
Agent Dan _ gifted a tier 1 sub to Sensational.
Oh, thank you so much, Dan. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly, it's not your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Miss Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garadev's book. If Mr. Garadev's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have been struck at the pane, would have struck the pane at the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street, and yet it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Miss Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street, but in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garadev's house. There is no logical explanation for these things, unless somebody deliberately moved them. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says.
Agent Dan _ gifted a tier 1 sub to Eledian.
Another one? Another gifted sub, thank you! Yay! Thank you for the subs! And you too, I hope you enjoy your subs. Thank you. Okay. Whittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh good, Miss Garrison's come around. Or Garadev's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Miss Garadev. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a serious criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mr. Naruhado. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend. Who would possibly had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and testimony points to one particular person. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? It couldn't have been him, could it have? Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. Who has a reason to tamper? Garadeb does. He does not. It couldn't have been her, could it have? Oh no. I could say it's her, but I don't know why that seems so like... How did she get down there in time? Did she go down there and edit things because he was asleep?
Take that!
No, 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 no. There's one person who could have done this. Do you intend to share your internal monologue, Counsel? Sorry, my lord. I was just taking a moment to get things straight in my mind. And for that moment, it wasted the court's time. You will pay the price. Was it him? Why would he do that? Oh my god. Okay. I guess the only person who was there on the crime scene is the one who did it, so I guess it was Raleigh.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person who it could have been. Constable Raleigh beat. It was you. A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? What nonsense. Why would my Raleigh do something like that? There's no straightener. There's no one straighter than my husband. Oh, we can tell. No Bobby works more tirelessly than the people of London. Miss B, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty.
Thank you.
15 minutes.
Agent Dan _ gifted a tier 1 sub to Keon Yi _ Sawyer.
Another one. Thank you. Yet another one. Yay.
3 subs.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. Yay.
Okay. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection.
If that were true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Miss Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
First, you make an accusation about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with, but there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. Until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Couldn't he have just wanted credit? Couldn't he have just wanted credit for... Alright, bye Dan! Couldn't he have just wanted the credit for the arrest or whatever? Constable B had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair. Why would he do that? He didn't... Oh, I know why. Maybe he didn't want to... You know what? Okay, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe because it was his anniversary and he didn't want to deal with it. So he moved everything. Right? Didn't he want to, like, not allow the... Maybe he could have not wanted to allow the investigation to have ruined his anniversary because he loved his wife so much. Mr. Narhado, have you managed to solve this mystery? Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the scene of the crime was to hide where the victim fell, right? Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the start, didn't we? On the pavement on Briar Road, we saw it happen, remember? It was right here. As if anyone didn't already know. That's certainly what everyone has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end. Counsel. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my deputy's friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? Wouldn't it just been like here?
Take that!
The crime, in fact, took place here.
Objection!
With that answer, it's now entirely unambiguous. The scene of the crime is this very courtroom. What? Or to be more precise, it's the exact location where that student in the morning dress stands. Did I select the building? Oh, fuck. Oh, that's the building. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Take that!
But that's on the opposite side of the road. I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garadev's book fell directly from the open window above, and your bouquet, Miss B, has never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious.
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony that the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right, I saw it with my very own eyes. It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Don't you have bad sense of direction, sweetie? Constable B then arranged for you to be absent for a while sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books, he moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing. What? What did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume? Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Dijk said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond, Constable Rolly Beat? Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Oh, Rolly. It isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything. Come out. Everything. Exposed. Only, it seems... it wasn't a dream at all. Yep, I figured. Did you sleepwalk? Order, order, order! What on earth is the meaning of all of this? Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is... it's a criminal offense, isn't it? Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town. I can't say, sir. What? Did you sleepwalk? I really am so ever sorry about this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything. I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, Constable B felt compelled to move to the scene of the crime. Did he sleepwalk? Did he want to do it because he wanted to have time with his wife for his anniversary because they work so fucking hard? I can think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You're a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Dijk, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan. It makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for the Constable Beats' unthinkable actions? Can I do people? It has to be the anniversary, right?
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I've only just arrived from Japan. which is why all of this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable B, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh, yes. It was our very first wedding anniversary. Constable B had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal, when he and Miss B stumbled upon a crime scene along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog, collapsed on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind? But, just on that particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Miss Beat puts up with a lot with being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card that the Constable B offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules of patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime scene is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable B. Is that, or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes. Everything you said, it's all right. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Oh. Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Goodness gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you've done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal should be working somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then, it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime scene was discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did it have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, I just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This beat is next to mine, Pat. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Mersham Street, and then... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Rolly. Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought, well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon? Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Raleigh would never have left the poor woman freezing on the cold pavement. I see your meaning now. You didn't fucking check her vitals, you idiot! You didn't check her fucking vitals? Are you insane? Are you insane? Are you insane? Oh my, you didn't check her vitals? Oh my god, what do they teach people here? Are you kidding me? What's the first thing you do when you see someone collapse on the ground? What's the first thing you do? You check for a pulse, you check for breathing, you check. What are you talking about? That's what a normal person would do. Especially law enforcement, are you kidding me? Oh my god. Are you crazy? But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rope. Or I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Raleigh. It's all my fault. I should have never dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Raleigh. And can you tell us, Constable? How many books did you move from one side of the road to the other in total? Oh, 4 it was. Yes, definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs, in the Garrideb household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand, when all the other books were scattered haphazardly around, I mean? Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the crime scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding? Oh yes, no doubt about it, sir. Interesting. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me, now. I've had it. My lord. Yes, Lord Benziques? I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Raleigh? What will happen to him? For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course. Please, don't punish my husband. This is all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late. Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. Alright then, my love. One last thing, Constable. Sir? Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, sir. Carve that lesson into your mind. And never again make the same mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Let him keep the stupid-ass job, okay? Now, if he was Japanese, he would have been like, take that fucking badge off right fucking now! Oh, if he was Japanese? Oh, no, he would have been like, take that shit off right now! Throw him behind bars! Kill him! Send him to the gallows! Oh, it would have been, Okay, alright, buddy. Huh? Never again, sir. You mean to say... Leave now. The trial is not yet over. Sir. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of the crime like that? Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here, principally that the accused, Mr. Seki Natsume, is the only person who could have committed this crime.
Objection!
No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there's someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably aware of what this possibility is already. Lord Van Zieks, is this true? Very well. Name the person, if you will, and if further investigation is warranted, the prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You will name this other person who could have perpetrated this crime.
Take that!
The defense would once again like to request a cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again? My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine the juror number 4, Miss Joan Garadeb. Me? Oh, dearie me.
Objection!
That request has already been denied. But the situation is very different now. Miss Garadeb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited, and to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the top-hinged casement window, the book plummeted down, finding its way to what we now know is the true scene of the incident. Yes, as I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Miss Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before? Well, yeah, they don't have a lot of money either. It's quite common. I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there, all in all that regalia, said the members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes. No. I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4. Oh! Make no mistake. You jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out. But that's just a commonplace garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying, please, Miss Garadeb? Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. You hear? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife, if that's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror. Oh. The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks. I'm gonna have to testify. Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today, witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. Oh, dearie me. So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Miss Garrideb, and mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. Justice? I'm here, in this Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. Witness, state your name and occupation. Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garrideb. And I'm, well, I'm a juror and such like. It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or maid or what anymore. The court has decided your testimony is required to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam? Yes, my lord. You will tell the court everything that took place. Why was that picture frame missing? Why was that picture frame missing? Her face. Do you remember that? Because doesn't this knife have a dull tip? This needs to be explained. Where is the tip of this knife? That's what I'm concerned about. I need to know where the tip of this knife is. You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question, and I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth. Oh dearie me. Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now. Oh, I didn't know you were here, John. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing. Was it? Rather think I had to testify as well, don't you? But what about your knee, dear? Don't you worry about that. I hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone. Oh, John. I presume you're a Mr. John Garrideb? Yes, sir. Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. See my fair share of action, and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes. Quite. Fusillades? Is that what that is? Am I dumb? Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay, thank you. I believe that this... Also, hi, Ken. Good to see you. I believe that this may represent a first in a proud history of British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the event in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once. The Battle of the Garrideb. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did a bit of a skirmish. I can't recall the reason now. Knocked the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window opened. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I'd noticed if one or two went missing, I'm afraid. If that bally thing in the victim's back really is one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think. It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your house that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. I had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shilling us for another minute, we would have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on the battlefield, you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here? Well, I must say that I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origin of this jackknife. In combat, one focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than what they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Franziques may well be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I'm afraid so. Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Yeah, you can. The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yeah, that's right. If I remember correctly, it's all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garadeb. A rather passionate note, in fact. But Miss Garadeb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret, and she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. What a sordid state of affairs. Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was... Wait, wide of the mark, anyway. A likely story. These waters run very deep. And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face? Knocked the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and the window got open. And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, did it not? The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. It just so happens there was some bath water around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street where the water main isn't connected. Having to draw water from a public pump during the day if you need any, you see. Wait, have to draw... Sorry, oh my god, I can't read. My bad. Have to draw from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see. The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. The defendant, Natsume, you mean? Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off. Have you actually seen the state of the man? I believe he uses all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Even though the room was on fire? Yes, as far as I was concerned at the time. It was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not of a true Sosato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo. How did she know I was thinking of that? So please, cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day? In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point it out. That I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge. And a napkin. Oh. I'll come back to that. It was really only soft items I was throwing. And I was really most restrained. The majority of them barely hit John. Really now.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb. Huh? Don't shoot. Sorry, beg your pardon? Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that barrage of projectiles... the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, the fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She even landed it. Oop. What'd you say? The woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every bally... Good grief, woman. We're not at home now. This is a court of law. Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear. What is she even doing with the teapot in here? Honestly, John, I would have never have thrown such things at you, obviously. Well, take a look at this, then. How do you suppose that happened, then, Your pipe, sir? I had this thing in my hand, as usual, at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with whatever soft projectile she did. Yes. And when it went to pick up the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see. Your pipe was broken. It would have never been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now. Huh. You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what I should make of this account. It could be important. The defense believed Mr. Garadeb's remark just now could be of great significance.
Objection!
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and the pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed, common sense, one might say. Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to integrate... Wait. Ingratiate? That's a new one. That is a new word for me. Hold on.
Ingratiate.
Okay. Bring oneself in favor with somebody by flattering them or trying to please them. Okay, there you go, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. Okay. Well, let's examine it. That's a small giggle and a half. How's it going? What's the difference between a roasted sweet potato and a flying pig? One's a heated yam, and the other one's a yeeted ham. Yeah, okay. Okay. Thank you, Jam. Alright, let's get this knife head out of here. Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I believe. Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? A tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be. Alright, well, I got all I need. Thank you.
Objection!
Mr. Giradeb, can I ask you to take a good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. But that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days, I struggle to tell from a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Garabed? Garabed? Garabdeb. Is that a, what is the word? What is the etymology of it? Like, what is the word? Like, what is that? There's a wordplay there, but I don't know what it is. Anyway. Oh, he does. Dearie me. It's rather wearing to be asked about every other letter and every other word. You must be dairy. You must D very duzzy. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what appears at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did its defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garadet's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Joey, I wonder how that got in there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it's some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road? I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord. You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case?
Take that!
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece of, at the tip of the blade that's missing. Common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave tips lodged in their victims' bones. And what of this particular knife? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim. No, that is not the case. Wouldn't it be bloody? The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garadev's pipe. Good grief. Wars Van Zeeks? I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh. Order, order, order. Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. A miracle? So Van Seeks has figured out has he? Council, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrett's pipe? Something that was clarified to us in the most recent witness's testimony. Had to sing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught, not to clean out of one of her soft projectiles she did. Yes. It would have never been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh, dearie me. During the argument between those two that occurred, just as the victim was on the pavement below, Miss Garrett flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrett, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord. Yes. And when the tiny tip of the blade... Wait, and the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside the pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1. And yet, there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garadev's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh...
Objection!
A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. If it's a perfect match, then what could you possibly be arguing? A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nepalese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it's just a theory. A bottle, I fear, is corked. What, it's because she was standing up? Is that why? It's in her back? Because you see... It's spoiled by an insurmountable inconsistency. An insurmountable? What? Can't she have just bent over to pick up the book? What is the inconsistency you claim to have identified? An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. Yes, the victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Yeah, of course, in her back. That's right, you silly little man. Now, Joan, old thing, what are you so excited about? Let's consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife fell from her from above, there's no possible way it could have planted itself in the victim's back. Yes, it could have, because you didn't film to fucking pick up the fucking book that was on fire. Are you kidding me? Order, order, order. Quite right, you see. You're exactly right. It fell from above, and then it should have been hit at an... If the knife had fallen from above, it would have struck on the top of the head. Well, I'm a loss for words. Are you people stupid? It would seem that the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder. If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. Are you serious? Is everybody stupid? Is everybody dumb? The book was on fire. Why? She picked it up. Hello? What do you have to do to pick up a book? Unless she dropped it low and picked it up. She was like, oh, book. Like, no. I was so sure we were on the right track, but now the theory has been blocked by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand. Hello? Let's just be serious here. Come on.
Objection!
There was a flaming book on the ground.
Take that!
Like, hello? The burnt book? Is that not the Gyarados book? Yes. And to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all know, it was the policeman's constable that put the book in between her fingers like that. Quite so. As part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to one side of the opposite side of the road. However, as part of his testimony, Constable B made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But what made you place the book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. The victim was already holding the book, so I moved everything to make sure it was in her hand. In other words, the victim had already picked up the book with her own volition, and clearly that must have been before she suffered the knife wound. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd be doing much of anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have a book in her hand? By Jingo. I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh, dearie me. We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Gyarados household onto the pavement below. Precisely at the moment, the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment, the young woman was walking alongside the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. The book I threw. Yes, Miss Gyarados. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked up the book. Yes, that's exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book. Oh heavens. And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at the same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Well, I never. It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and in the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. Uh-oh. And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated into an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind the case. Well, Mr. and Miss Gyarados? The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that. There, old bean. Poor Miss Gyarados. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book, and I threw the knife as well. John, dear. It's alright, I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry.
Oh, can somebody help him? He doesn't have a good leg. Can somebody help him? Well. Why is the dude... Okay. Lord Banziques, what news of Miss Garrideb? She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that from today's events had left her in a especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern. Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could have easily been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions. There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we never got to met her. How wonderful. That woman is out of danger, it seems. Yes, that is good news. So, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Oh, yes. On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. No, it's me who should be begging for your pardon. Oh no, Mr. Natsume. That evening, when a young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog. Like they're haunting me. Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has gotten the better of him. Yes, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should have never had dropped my books like that and ran away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship between our of trust in between our two empires. And for that, I'm truly sorry. One could indeed say some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both. Oh. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know. But I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about damn time. I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Very well. Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you not guilty. Where's all that confetti come from? Fireworks! And finally, Mr. Natsume. Oh, yes, Lord, sir? You are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me. Oh yes, sir. Of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned. They really try to fucking... Like... They really tried to say... Bro, like... They really tried... what a joke. They really were like, shouldn't she have been stabbed from the fucking head? Oh my god. Are you serious? What are you kidding me? Like, come on. Like, come on, man. Just pack it up. Pack it up. Come on. Everyone act all dramatic, like having breakdowns, like, oh, what could have happened? Are you people serious? Oh my. Or locum. Wait, you mean me? Of course. Is none other locum here? Is there even one? Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhado Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last, I'm free, I'm free. Joyful, joyous, jubilant. Jubilation. Heedy, hearty, happiness, hurrah! Oh, I'm pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that then? Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink. Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that. Lovely, loyal locum lawyer. Yes? I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down at me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback. Oh dear. I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you, locum lawyer, gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind that baronical bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold, the best barrister ever born." Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's to become of my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. Was that Sholmes? There he is. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you. I see I'm here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh. The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhado, and I wish you the very best of luck. It's just finished. What? No. Then my haste was in vain? Ugh. It's you! Herlock Sholmes. Oh? Have we met, sir? This is Mr. Matsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom. Either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming. This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm gonna give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor lady and ran off, are you not? The cat? Has she been taken to the hospital more urgently? Oh, okay. The cat. I'm so sorry. Bitch, the cat. I'm sorry, the victim. Oh my god? I was thinking about the calico cat he had at home. Oops. Yes, the victim. Yes, the victim was taken to the hospital. Yes. I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind. Now then, what was it that you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless. Oh, I'm sorry, really, but that was quite priceless. Poor Soseki-san. He is right. If you wouldn't have ran and you would have helped her, then you wouldn't have been in this problem, more than likely. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty. But there is no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Even after all this, I'm probably gonna be in trouble. Still cursed by the spirits, and now by the Reaper. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It will be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears, trying to make trouble, I will protect you. With a perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of a warning next time, please, Miss Susato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan. Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh! It's already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city has shaped. Sorry. I've come to realize that it's my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. That's very touching, Mr. Natsume. Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse? That's not it at all. The more I learn of literature, the more the strange feeling claws my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. Oh, I see. A work of literature by Soseki-san. It could be an interesting read. And what about Miss Osato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? What about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot? Why would we? A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet. And you're not accommodated at a hotel at present, are you not? That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us. I've calculated that we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted. Well then, you can take my lodgings. Oh, the windowless room? But what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor and ceiling and walls! Okay! Great. And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit. Oh, an evil spirit? Oh yes, it tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's a cat and an affable wake-up call. We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative? Would you consider taking lodgings with me? Really? Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it's up to the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this morning on the matter of the price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of? Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in a great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words. So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening, and you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist. I don't know what to say, but thank you. And yes, Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long. Somebody's happy. Locum. I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame we're gonna have to say goodbye so soon. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day. Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Can I do the fucking paperwork? Shit, fuck! Can I fucking release the man? Damn! Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I have little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this morning. This evening. God damn it. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Breaker Street. Attic? Okay. What is this, honey? So this is to be our new office, yes. Our office? I rather like the design of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So my dearest fellows, do you like the place? Oh, that is a different look. Oh. Oh. That is a new look. He just took his coat off. And his hat. Hello? A toothpick changes everything. Ah! Anyway, Mr. Sholmes, thank you so much. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it. Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you. I hope everyone's hungry. It's time for dinner. Well, yeah, as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives, we will have a lot to celebrate. Let me guess, does he die on the way over here? Iris, you must let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights also casts the darkest of shadows. Yep. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of that murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes had casually spoke, but it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. What you doing? What you doing? What you up to? You wouldn't be committing any crimes, would you? In a room with me? How's about I kill you? Yeah? In-game. In-game, in-game. As a Capcom creator, I would never do that in person. I mean in-game. And Monster Hunter. Yes. How's about we net battle on Mega Man Battle Network, and I kill you then? There you go. All right. Well, P, Star Rail, and live stream. Sound good? All right. Be right back. Let me see. All right. Be right back.